What's a 6-2? No, it's not a new form of rugby with 6 forwards and 2 backs, although it could be fun. Anyway, a 6-2 is, to put it frankly, a bench formation. You will not see this in any sport where you have a bench formation, I think. Anyway, rugby, or should I say team sports in Europe, have introduced subs quite lately in their history. If we stick to rugby, Mike Gabson will replace Barry John in the Lions' first test against South Africa in 1968, was the first official sub in a test match. In 1996, tactical subs were introduced with only 3 replacements back then. Then it moved to 7 subs for quite some time, and usually you will have 1 replacement for hooker, prop, lock, back row, scrum half, 10/centre and wing/fullback. Then, a few years back, an 8th was added and it was given to an extra prop position, so now you have one prop covering the loose hand and the other one covering the tight hand. And for some time the bench formation was a 5-3, meaning 5 forwards and 3 backs, and it's still used this way by most teams as it kind of covers every position on the pitch and balances out and gives you more options. So the question is, why sacrifice a back replacement to add another forward in? Although the 6-2 formation has been used a few times in the past, it was very rare until the 2019 World Cup success of South Africa with the so-called bomb squad. The front 5 were all replaced between the 45th minute and the 50th minute of the game. This is terrific as it allows you to have forwards that continue to be at 100% and continue to give you clean balls for the 9 to play, as well as being more physically dominant towards the end of the game to also be more dominant in the ruck, scrum or mauls. Extra kilos are always helpful in this matter. For most teams that have heavily basing the game plan on forward physical dominance, this is a great tactic. France won against New Zealand, won a Grand Slam by relying heavily on the physical domination by playing 4 out of 5 games with a 6-2 on the bench. The only game they did not was when Big Tower was COVID positive, which highlights to me when the 6-2 option should be used. You need at least an entire front replacement, 1 second and 1 back row on the bench. But with a 6-2, you need another second row to replace the entire front 5. When you replace a big guy with another big guy, you are sure to bring in lots of damage for the entire game. But you got to have backs that you can rely on and know for sure that they're your main players, just like South Africa in 2019 or France this year. Having some players that can cover many positions, whether they're starting or not, helps. Kobe could play fullback, and they had Francois Steyn, an experienced players that can cover 10, 12 and 15 with a big boot. France had Ntamak that could play centre, Finku on the 12 or on the wing, Penaud at centre 2, Dupont can actually play 10-2 and does it often at Toulouse, and Ramos was covering 10-15 on the bench. Finku and Ntamak actually play every minute of this year's Six Nations, which showed the staff that they had a lot of faith in them. Although the extra height and weight can help, certain teams that base their game plan around runs rather than physical dominance would rather stick with 5 forwards on the bench. A team like Japan gains more from this with how much we move the ball. It has to fit a certain idea of a game plan. It worked brilliantly for France and South Africa as they built the game plan around attacking rucks with several phases of pick and go, so increasing the forward presence amongst the bench made sense for them, but that's not the case for everyone. So, is this 6-2 formation going to become the norm? I don't think it will for sure, but it will be used more often, especially in decisive games at the end of the season where the game plan will be restricted. But aren't backs more likely to be injured too? So why not add another sub and make it a 24-man squad for the game? Which to me will delay the fact that coaches will add this 24th man as a forward as time goes on. Eddie Jones a few years back asked for a reduction of players available on the bench and asked to have a squad of 20 players. I do agree that the game will be more uncertain, but that will be a huge risk to the players' health. So, what then? How can coaches adapt? I think in the future we're going to see more players that can cover a forward and a back position. Botia, à la Rochelle, has played brilliantly and could bring a 6-2 or 5-3 depending on injuries and the need of the game. If anything, it will reveal how good coaches are able to adapt to the game. Galtier for France has been trying to use Makalu as a back row and winger option, and even Cross as their centre option during this Grand Slam win. They never had to use it, but I'm sure certain players could excel at both positions. Hooper, Hardy Savea, Curry or Tupirik will make great centres. Dan Cole in his days too actually. Backs such as Sonny Bill will have been a great back row option, and so players like Nadolo, Dante, Tulagi, Chisova is actually used as an 8 behind the scrum to use his strength and speed, and Bastaro is now playing as an 8 after being a centre for so many years, which suits his qualities. They will not start as one, but eventually finish the last 20 minutes of the game. I can understand why certain players don't want to try new positions, as they could be seen as a trump card and be good players to be put on the bench or not play at the position they want. But this option is definitely the new evolution of rugby in my eyes, to have players that can swift from a forward to back positions. Not everyone will be able to do it, obviously, not many will want to, but certainly more will be open to the idea of it and do great at it. All they need is to have a coach's reassurance on how and when they will be used at certain positions, and it will be great. Thank you all for watching.